All right, my friends, we are going to jump right in. Allow me to introduce. So, not all of these interviews are going to be with coaches. Some of them are with coaches, some of them are with alumni. Hey, Kelly. Sherry is one of our two newest coaches, which we are so freaking excited about. Um, Sherry, as many people in here can relate, came to us carrying the mom guilt, just the loads of taking time for myself is selfish. She'll tell it better than I do. And not only had such a transformation in her own life, but just is such a living, breathing example of how doing this is not just for you, it's for your family. And the transformation that's happened for all of them has just been so inspiring that she now gets to help other women do the same. Dory says, hello, lovelies. And Lindsay says, hi, Sherry. You have your
Oh,
fan
hi,
club
Lindsay.
coming. Awesome. All right. Without further ado, welcome, Sherry. We are so happy. We're so
Okay.
happy to have you as a coach, to have
Hi.
you here. So let's start. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Dory, because I just find this to be such a fascinating exercise. When you think back on the Sherry that existed pre-Ignite, I think you found us through Kickstart, right?
I did not. I heard you on a podcast.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Interesting.
and then the podcast, I mean, it was just, the universe comes together and I was
Yeah.
supposed to find you, and Kickstart was happening like right then. And all things aligned.
I love
So
it. Was
that's
it
how.
my podcast or someone else's podcast?
No, you were a guest speaker on someone's.
Oh, I
And I
love that.
can not remember who it was. But
I
yeah,
love that. Oh, see, when I'm guest speaker on someone's podcast, I don't usually know what happens after the fact. So I love hearing stories
yeah,
like that. Who would have known back then that that's where we'd be now?
yeah, absolutely.
Unreal. All right. So there
Yep.
was Sherry listening to some chick named Rachel on someone else's podcast and happened to be the universal line that she was supposed to be in Kickstart. If you had to choose one word to describe who you were, what you felt like in that stage of life, I'm putting you on the spot here, what would your word be?
Oh dear. Immediately, actually, two words came to mind. Can I use two? Frustrated, tired.
Ooh, I know tired
Yes,
hits hard for a lot of people.
frustrated and tired. I felt like I was doing all the things. I was running like crazy, eating nothing, and just worn out. Just waking up early. I would wake up at 5 a.m. to do my workouts prior, to the day starting. And man, it was like I was running in circles and not getting anywhere. And it was just really, really frustrating, to the point that before I had listened to that podcast, I said to my husband, I've been doing the same thing for a long time and not getting results. What do you think? I know this, I'm not sure about this, but do you really think like a personal trainer might be able to help me? And he was like, I don't know. They're really expensive. And honest to God, I listened to that podcast and Kickstart happened and it all kind of rolled together.
Oh, I love that. You put it out there in the universe, like, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And you
Yeah,
were ready. You were ready for something new, and the universe put us
absolutely.
together. That's
I
awesome.
was like the perfect example for Smeech body.
Thank you for not saying
I
the name so we don't get sued.
Yes, I followed a lot of, religiously, and I just had a really rough time. Nothing worked. It was not working.
Yeah. So tell us more about that. With like, I mean, frustrated and tired, I feel like are such poignant words that so many women, let alone moms, like every mom can relate to those words. Most women can relate to those words. What were you doing that wasn't seeing results? Like frustration comes because we're doing something that quote unquote should get results, but wasn't. What did that look like for you?
Right. So for me, with having three kids at home, a gym membership was just not out of the question. It was out of the question because I felt like I didn't have enough time to go before or after work. I didn't want to give up that family time. So I didn't want to be bothered with that. So I turned to at home videos, and it was very convenient for me because I could do those at home. So I had some weights, but I was doing what I thought was weightlifting, but it was a lot of high rep, low weight cardiac activity, not weight training. And eating, I would try to follow the programs, which put me at anywhere at like 1,200 calories. And then I'd have like really good days where I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm banging this out. I got, put on my little containers and I'm doing 1,200 calories. And then a day would hit and I would binge like crazy. And I would have all this shame and guilt and I just can't do this right. I can't do this right. And then I'd start back up again. Okay, this week. And then also let me mention that this might have been Wednesday. So at Wednesday, I was like, screw it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm off the, off the wagon, all in. And then Monday's like, shit, I just done did it. Yep. Here again, I'm going to be good this week. And I was just
again on Monday. That's what we do.
And I followed that cycle for a very long time. Yeah. And again, just super frustrated. And that's when I found, I just thought to myself, something has to change. I'm super tired. I'm not happy. I'm moody. I have headaches all the time and I'm hungry. I'm just hungry. There has to be more to life than this.
It shouldn't be this difficult.
So when I came into your program, I was looking for number one, to lose weight. I had the baby weight that was left over from my third kid and it was just not coming off. And I wanted to change. I felt like I had gone through all the steps that I knew and they just were not working.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, we've all been there. By the way, Tina and Leanne both say hello. Hello, beautiful.
Hey.
I think we've all been there, right? Like we do the things that we think we should be doing. And when they don't work, it's like, you want me to eat less? Like I'm already eating 1,200 calories. Should I just keep cutting down?
And that's what I would do. Yeah. I would think, okay, well, I'm going to drop this. I'm going to have 2 shakes this day instead of just one, like for extra brownie points. That's going to help me out. And then by the 3rd day in, I was like, screw this. I'm having all the ice cream and hot wings and wine, you name it. I was having it.
Yeah. So you found the podcast, you found Kickstart. We were in the thick of Kickstart when you joined us. You heard us talk quite a bit with Dory, like, Ignite is not a cheap program. This is an investment and it is a leap and it takes facing fear. And you have 3 kids at home and a husband and a career and all this stuff you're balancing. What did either that conversation as a family or the conversation in your head around the fear, the guilt, the investing in yourself, what did that feel like? And what was the tipping point for you where you were like, not another day. Like I'm leaping, I'm doing this.
Well, I think what MindStrong, how that stood out to me was I was interviewing other trainers because I thought I'm just not going to just jump in with one. I want to see what's out there. And the other 2 ladies that I interviewed, it was all about what your goals and what number do you want to see on the scale. And Rachel, you were the only one who talked about mindset work. And that stood out to me. And being a person that I knew I had mindset work, because every time I stepped on that scale, if it was not the number that I thought it should be, I'd plummet. Like my day was trash. I was a jerk. It just ruined my day. So I would say what happened was after listening to that podcast, the next day I woke up, I did all the cardio and I was like, I feel freaking awesome. And I don't need this chick because I'm doing what I always do. And this time it's going to work. I'm not paying any extra money.
Right.
So I get on the scale and it's the same actually, it wasn't even the same number. It was higher. And that night I broke down and I was like, Sean, there is something about this girl. I just feel like this program is calling me that it's really going to benefit. And he said, if you really think that this is going to be the change you need to make you feel better, let's just try it. What do you have to lose? Worst case, we'll find the money somewhere. We'll figure it out. But if this is going to help your mood and help, better yourself as a mom and wife, okay, let's try it out. And I was really anxious. I didn't want to put the money out there because, like you said, I got 3 kids. I have all this stuff that's always going on. I'm putting money towards dance and school stuff. And the thing that honestly he said that made me decide like, okay, because, I'm always so skeptical and I want the okay from someone else. And he said, if you're going to go on vacation, one more time and look at yourself in the mirror and say you hate how you look in your bathing suit. You don't want to eat that because you're going to have to work out tomorrow. He's like, wouldn't you feel 1,000 times better if that money changed your entire dieting, physique, mind, set, that you can have a vacation that you enjoy? He's like, because you know what? If it doesn't work, that's only that time. You don't have to keep on with the program. Just do the first whatever she has going on. And I was like, you know what? That's true. If I can look in the mirror and be happy with the way I look and learn something to help me that I don't have to feel bad about myself, absolutely, I'm all in. And that was the changing point for me. That's when I decided I'm doing this.
Oh my gosh. And I have to say, if you don't, Dory says Rachel's magnetic that way. Thank you.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
your nominee. When you know Sherry, if those of you who hang out, if she becomes your coach, if you've been here a while, that story hits so much harder for a couple reasons. Number one, you know how much mindset work we do around the scale. So I think I referenced this in Kickstart this week. When people do these challenges and they say, if you don't lose 10 pounds on the scale, whatever the result is, you cannot do that. Like, that is not how this, that firsthand now. That is not how that process works, because for someone like you, or like we mentioned Leanne as well, when your body starts toning up, starts developing those muscles in that way, the scale is a complete mind game, because it might not move at all. It might just shift. And if your measure of success is watching it go down 10 pounds, you're never going to stick with this. So it's interesting to hear that part of your backstory. The other part that I think those of us who know Sherry for a while is, you've recently, in the past few months, been posting pictures on a boat in your bathing suit, just like celebrating family time. So I didn't know that story. Hearing that was what, like, can you imagine feeling good on vacation? Like, you're living it.
Yes. In fact, my husband would be like, okay, you don't need to take a million pictures, but that was me. I'd be like, standing this way, because I thought I looked fat in this way. And that was such a breakthrough to me, because that was one of the first times, those pictures on the boat, that I was like, you know what? I don't even think about how I was posing. It was just like, I was here in the moment having fun. And I think that this is one of the biggest blessings that MindStrong has given me. And I'm going to, I feel very emotional, is that it has given,
cried, let it out.
It has given me time with my family. Like, all this chatter in my head has finally stopped. That when my kid is blowing out his birthday candle on his cake, I am not thinking about, if I have a piece of cake tonight, what am I not eating tomorrow? I can enjoy every single moment that is happening around me. And it has brought so much joy in my life. And as a mom, if you got to hear me, that these children are so small, and mine are growing so fast, that if you are worrying about all this nonsense in your head about food and how you look, you just got to stop. There's more to life than that. So much more.
I think every mom knows.
Yeah.
Like, I legit have goosebumps listening to you say that, because that's what it is, right? Like, we just talked about this with Dory too, and it's going to come up for everyone. We are not here to wear a t-shirt that says I weigh X number of pounds. We are here because, as we said so many times this week in Kickstart, control equals freedom. You could not stop that rumination when you were not in control of your food. And now that you are in complete control, the rumination stops, you're free, you get to just be present. Like, that's what this is about. It is about life. It is about time with your family, not about what freaking number is on this arbitrary t-shirt of how many pounds you've lost.
That is absolutely true. In fact, throughout this entire program, I mean, my coaches can testify, I think I've weighed myself 3 times. Yeah. It's just, I did not want to associate myself with that number. I wanted to feel all the good things, the energy, and just feeling good in my skin, my body, seeing the changes in my clothing, going to the gym. I can't even believe this, Rachel. I just earlier in the week, like, I was walking straight onto a mirror that I was just like, oh my God, is that me? Like, I was just like, oh my God. Like, it took me like a minute. Like, I was just like flabbergasted. And I was like, dang, yeah, that's me.
I love
But
that.
those things never happened before. Like I was hiding behind the equipment, or not even, actually, I wasn't even in the gym because there was no way that I was going to go in there. Like it just wasn't happening. So again, just another checkpoint, like, yep, now I'm doing this.
Oh, I love
So,
that. Tell us
so
about that transition to the gym. So I know you started with at-home workouts, and I think it was minimal in the beginning, right? And then
absolutely.
got involved and go tell us about that journey.
Yeah. So when I first started, like I said, I was doing a lot of cardio programs, videos on the TV. And once I started MindStrong, I kind of wanted, like, I probably say the first week and a half, 2 weeks, I totally just focused on trying to learn macros and get my head wrapped around that. And then once I started to feel more comfortable, um, I kind of was like, well, I wonder if I could get in a workout this week. If I just, maybe might do 20 minutes or whatever. Again, started off in the morning like I used to do my normal routine, did the weightlifting that you provided, and it was wonderful. I did not do any cardio. In fact, I just started adding cardio back into my routine just because I wanted to. But it was almost like a real relief, like, oh, I don't have to go out and run 5 miles. I can just do strength training. And I was seeing results. And I had started the program in October. By December, on my Christmas list was higher weights,
I love it.
higher dumbbells. So by December, my husband, Santa Claus brought me some weights. And I did that up until Mother's Day. I call it my mini mom gym. So I now have 35-pound dumbbells. That's my highest. But I really felt like I was outgrowing myself, especially with my legs. I knew I could lift heavier. So after kind of like talking this out with my husband, and he was kind of like, what did you think about this and this? I was like, how do you feel if just one Saturday morning we go in as a family to our local Y, see what they might have for the kids. And my son was getting really involved in basketball at that point, so they have a great basketball court and stuff. So we did that, and next thing you know, Mother's Day rolled around, and my kids and my husband, that's what they got for Mother's Day, was a gym membership. And honestly, we go, my daughter goes with me a lot, probably at least, well, they all do, the kids do. But my husband, believe it or not, he is like getting in there twice a week now. It's been a real neat experience. Like we make kind of a Saturday morning out of it. And yeah, it's been really enjoyable.
Isn't it incredible when you think about where you started with the guilt of taking time away from your kids, and now that's become this family bonding experience that is one of the I mean, think about the example you're leading for these kids of, like, doesn't matter what happens in a day, mommy's going to take care of her health.
Absolutely. And even at home, like initially before I started your program, I wanted to be up at 5 a.m. so my kids wouldn't bother me.
Mm.
But then after I got more into MindStrong and started to learn how to properly fuel my body and realize, okay, waking up at 5, being tired, not having any, fuel to, fuel your workout. No wonder why you're not doing so great. So once I changed those things and I slept in a little more, ate my breakfast, I was doing my workouts with my kids, in the same room. And I remember posting pictures of like,
My
like
favorite.
my weights and my son's like train tracks around the weights. But you know what the best thing is when the kids want to join in and they're trying to do push-ups, and they understand that workout time is a good, it's not going to not happen. I'll put it that way. We don't put it off.
And I mean,
So
there's a depth to that we can't even fully understand, right? When you were living in the world of under eating, of shakes and salads and body shaming, like we can all just hear you say it, like, you're an incredible mom. Nobody on this call is questioning that.
thank
And
you.
that relationship with food was what your kids were on track to start mimicking. So
Oh,
the
yes.
mom now who doesn't even look at a picture before it's posted or worry about cake at her kid's party, like, think of the generational health that you've just completely drawn a line in the sand and changed that trajectory of your entire family.
It's really sad that the prior Sherry, my family called me Salad Sherry
Hmm.
because I wouldn't eat carbs. Like salad was it. And it's kind of, it's heartbreaking that a year ago, my 10-year-old was saying that, oh, mom eats his salads and that's what's healthy. And it's so discouraging. I mean, you don't want any child to think that. I mean, it blows my mind. So I went from salad Sherry to now my kids are calling me macro mama. So, and they see, you know, we have pizza Friday night, we're having, you know, ice cream. I mean, I don't miss out on those things, and I don't guilt myself in saying I shouldn't have. And I don't want my kids to hear that, or I don't want to hear them hear, you know, to say, oh, that's not very, that's a bad food. Like that vocabulary, I'm trying to extract out of my household. You know, I don't want that anymore.
That's the stuff that, like, I mean, talk about passion behind what we do. That is the stuff, right? Because you can filter all you want, you can be careful around your kids, but they feel the energy behind that relationship. And you have done such a 180, not only for your own life, but just, it's not even about them. I mean, they're going to grow up, they're going to have kids, grandkids, all that stuff. Like, you have just changed the course of your family's history by taking control of this. It's
Yeah.
Meredith
Again,
says, go ahead.
I was to say, it just brings so much more joy into your life. I mean, it truly does.
Meredith says, I love that family's joining you. It's so amazing the secondary impact the MindStrong has on our families and loved ones. Yes. And Meredith, we talked about with Dory that the husbands, like the husbands, the partners, the spouses, just watching and like dipping their toe in the water. In your case, your husband's going to the gym now. Like,
right.
When people come to us and say, how do I get my spouse involved? The answer is you don't. Just do you, boo-boo. And they're going to jump on board when they see what happens.
You're right. And in the beginning, he was very hesitant. He was kind of like, oh no, this isn't fun. Like, we're not going to do the fun stuff we used to do anymore. And I'm like, well, we do more things than just have fun food. I mean, you know, and that was like such another turning point, is that, again, the food is not always the focus. Yeah. So we can branch out and do other things, and we have, and it's just been an amazing, just a relief. That guilt and shame is just, it's not there. It's gone.
Yep. And I bet when it is food focused, it's way more fun now because that stuff's not there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Sarah wants to know how old your kids are.
So my baby is 5. And then I have a 10-year-old, and my oldest one is 14.
Wow. So that's no joke. That, like, when you talk about the ranges of kids, like, you have your hands full.
Yep. Yeah. And you know, that as they get bigger, they get involved in more stuff, and you become mom taxiing around, and yeah.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said about the scale, because I think this is so telling. For those of you that do join us in Ignite, you'll see like the scale is a large topic of conversation. We have a whole training just on the scale, what it is, what it isn't. And you heard Sherry mention that in her entire Ignite program, you said what, you've gotten on the scale like 3 times at this point. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And we can do that because the scale doesn't matter. And hearing that, like 80% of you are gonna be like, screw you, Rachel. Of course it matters. What I mean by that is macros are math and science. When you hit your macros and you stay consistent, it will work. We don't have to get on every day and say, did it work today? Am I losing weight? It's like, sorry, Charlie's digging in the carpet. Charlie, it's like if high interest savings accounts still existed, if you put 10% of your money in there, you're not going to lose money. That's not how math works, right? The interest is going to grow. It's going to exponentially grow. You're going to have more than when you started. And the beautiful release of macros is it's math and science. When you're hitting them every day, there's no need to get on the scale. If it's messing with your mind, stay off of it. And what has that been like for you? That freedom of not questioning the process anymore?
It's crazy, because my first check-in, I was like, you don't have to answer how much you weigh. Like, you can write NA. Like, who are these people? Like,
write NA. That's literally what.
And so then I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm not doing it. So it was very tempting. It was so tempting, to the fact where I had to put it in the closet, because just looking at it, like, it was like this mind game of, you should get on it. Let's see how things are going. But I felt like if I fully committed myself to the program, I wanted to see how I felt internally, just as well as the outside physically, without seeing a number. And when I committed to putting that money into MindStrong, I thought, I'm going to give it my all and see. And I know that number messes with me. So I am not even giving that an option to screw this up for me. Yeah. So that was my talk through with myself, because I mean, it was a lot of money. I didn't want to blow, what I was putting in. So
Yeah. And that's a testament to knowing yourself. And again, those of you who join Ignite, you'll see this, that in your weekly check-ins, we ask for your weight up front because we need it to set your plan. But at your weekly check-ins, if the scale is a mind game for you, at some point your coach will tell you, stop weighing yourself for now. We don't care, because if when you are hitting your macros, it will work. We don't need to worry about the ups and downs that'll naturally happen, and we'll learn why they happen and when they happen. But it's such a testament, Sherry, to your awareness of like, this is not serving me. So if what I needed to stay on track is to put it in the closet, then put it in the closet.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if you remember, but when I first started, like I was infatuated with, I had to have abs. If I have a,
Yes.
if I have a six pack, man, I won the lottery, then this system is working. And I mean, that was like all I could focus on. But it became like, okay, who's walking around with their shirt off all the time? Like nobody. While it is a great after effect, and it does happen, like it happens, and I am not doing a ton of ab exercises. I'm not running my butt off. And just from the strength training, the core involvement, you get some abs. I mean, I don't have the full blown out ones yet, but I do got some nice obliques
We've
working.
seen the pictures. Sherry posts pictures and they're like popping out. We're like, what is happening over there?
But I was so obsessed with that. And as I went on through the program, it was nice feeling to understand like that's not what it's all about. Like, and I think society brainwashes us into thinking that that equals success. That's not success. Your mind up here and how you think and how you feel when you're happy with what you're eating and how you're feeling and the things that you're doing daily, that's success. Truly.
Yes. Speaking of the bigger picture, so we've talked a lot this week about how energy can't be destroyed, right? That's a scientific fact, that energy just changes form, it goes somewhere else. And Dory started talking about, I asked her what her word is now, and her answer was magical, that every area of her life has just unleashed from doing this work. And she kind of she gave away the punchline with that you've had major life changes since, especially recently, career-wise. Can you talk about if you had to find a parallel between the work you're doing with your health in here and other changes that have nothing to do with health and fitness, seemingly, what does that look like? How has this affected other areas of your life?
Am I supposed to pick the word?
you can pick a word too. Yeah. Why not? Let's group them in. That was going to be my last question, but let's group them in. What's your word? And how is that threaded in?
Okay. So, I think my word would have to be empowered.
Oh, I love it.
Because I never, ever would have had the confidence that I have now.
Mm.
And so, as Dory mentioned, I have done the same job, the same career path for 16 years. And I have always had this other ideas in my mind, how I felt like what I truly wanted to be doing with my life. I wanted to be able to be home more when my children were home and not be spending, time away from them. And I don't know, like I had a lot of fear holding me back, that I thought I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't able to learn new skills. Just all these like crazy things that just isn't true, but it's your beliefs that you just keep telling yourself over and over again. And so finally I got the courage to say, well, what if you have this level of curiosity? And I think I've heard Dory say that, and I'm not bluffing you. Like Rachel said this, you heard this. I'm saying it again because it's true. You have this little bit of curiosity to say, well, I wonder if I put a resume out there, what I might get back. And then, you get the job offer. And then you say, I wonder if I asked for this amount of money. I never would have asked for more money. I wonder if I'd asked for a starting bonus if they do that. I never would have had that confidence until MindStrong, because, now I kind of feel like, well, if you don't ask, you don't know. And the worst thing they're going to say is no. But prior, I would have been like, well, I don't want to take advantage. I'm really good where I'm very fortunate that they're even willing to hire me. But now I feel like, no, I'm bringing a lot to the table. Like I have this to offer. I have this to offer. If it's not here, there might be something else out there. Yes. But I never, ever would have given myself just the again, that curiosity, that want. I just had myself in this box, and I just feel like I'm this new person that I'm finally coming out. Like I'm more than a mom. I'm more than a nurse. I'm more than I like to work out. I'm all these things
Yeah.
and so much more.
I think we're all like freaking out inside. It's so fun. This is why I love these things. Yes, Allison says, woohoo, look at you go, woman. This, like Dory was, Dory got emotional talking about how, she heard her son saying, you've spent your whole life taking care of us. And I think for moms, especially moms, grandmas, but women in general, you know, it's so easy for again, this is why we call it Ignite, for our flame to get dwindled because we put on these labels of, I'm a mom. My life is about taking care of my kids. And it is like the most important thing in your life is taking care of your kids. And when you step into your power, when you relight that flame, you realize that's how you best take care of them. When you're not
Absolutely.
just wearing a mom hat, when you are the strong, empowered woman who asks for what she wants, who stays curious, who steps in her power, that there's nothing better we can be doing for our kids.
Absolutely. And
You're a,
when when you're in the skin that you love, you can make those changes that you can say, I'm going to go to the gym for 45 minutes a day or an hour, whatever time you can spend. And then you can come back and solely focus on what's important to you, your work, your children, I mean, your husband, your partner, and truly be focused on them and not ruminating, thinking about, I know I should have done this. And again, just those lies that we tell ourselves and just that level of freedom and control you have when you start to take those steps to making a new you.
100%. Joe, I see your question. I see Brandy's response. I'm going to answer that in a second. Because I want to wrap up with Sherry's thoughts and then I'll answer that question. So you can't see the question. Joe said, do you have to be in ketosis for the macro formula to work? And Brandy responded, "Hoo boy, can't wait to hear this response." We're going to come to that in a second. All right, Sherry, before we wrap up, I'm going to put you in the coach's corner for a second.
Okay.
um there are a lot of really busy moms watching. Like we've heard a lot of people's stories here. I remember there's one person in the group who said she's a single mom with 5 kids, which God bless her. Like Simone goes out of town, I have 3 dogs, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, come on. I don't know how single moms do it, period, but 5 kids. And firsthand what that mom guilt feels like. Firsthand the I shoulds, I shouldn't, showing up for my family. It is hard to verbalize what it feels like on the other side of this journey. So to the best of your ability, looking back at how you felt frustrated, tired Sherry versus empowered Sherry, what do you say to those moms who are in the thick of mom guilt right now?
I would say that frenzied hot mess mom, I know, and I've been there, and it's an awful feeling. It feels like you're running from here to here and here and here. It's nuts. I would say it doesn't have to be that way. It does not have to be that way. You don't have to do, a cook for hours on Sunday. Like I do not do that. I do not have the time. Do I prioritize what I eat? Absolutely. Do I, make a more conscious effort of what my family eats? Absolutely. But they're teeny tiny changes, little ones that you make here and there. And the next thing you know, it's habit building on habit, and you're just doing it. And the next thing you know, you're walking around feeling better every day about yourself. So the best thing I can tell you is stop now with the crazy mom life. Like I hate that part of society, like hot mom or with crazy mom hair, don't care. Don't be that mom. Like I know, but we all have those times, and those certainly I have those moments just the same. But just don't wait another minute. If you don't feel good in the skin you're in, it does not have to be that way. Take control now.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's an important part what you said too, when people first learn about macros, it's like, I have to track every day. I have to get in this new routine. What you just said is exactly what the process is. Like, yeah, of course, you're learning a new skill in the beginning. In the beginning, it's like, oh, okay, I'm not going to remember to track my food. And then a few weeks down the line, you're like, this is just who I am and what I do, right? Like I get up, I brush my teeth, I put my breakfast in my tracking app. Like
Yeah.
it's a habit.
And it's okay. Like I used to be this, I have to get my 45-minute workout in or I'm screwed. Some days it's not that. Some days it's 20 minutes. Some days it's none. But you know what? The next day is another new day and new choices that you get to make for yourself.
Freaking love you. Allison says we're looking at a literal different Sherry, and that is true. If
Oh,
I wish, but we should start doing this. Honestly, as I'm saying this out loud, we should interview everyone when they join Ignite and then when they graduate at the end, because this is a different Sherry than the person
oh.
who came into Ignite. And that is the understatement of a year of the.
It is true. I do feel like I'm brand new.
I love it. Joe, I'm going to answer your question before we sign off. If First of all, hard no, you do not, you should not be in ketosis to do what we do here. If you are currently in ketosis, the first thing we're going to do is get you out of it. Ketosis is not meant to be a weight loss technique. It is horrible for your body long term. It is the polar opposite of what we do here. And if you are someone who's in it, our first step is to meet your body where it is. Our next step is to get you out of that state, because it's not how the human body is designed to be. We heart carbs in this community.
True. I now eat buns on my burgers.
That's right. That was on the 4th of July. Sherry
Yes.
was celebrating her first 4th of July eating a burger with a bun.
And it was fantastic.
Awesome. Sherry, do I have your permission to put your MindStrong email in the comment box?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You are, hold on, you guys know I can't talk and do this at the same time. So if you're someone who, is a busy mom, is dealing with mom guilt, who your story really resonates with Sherry. We've been talking all week. Dory said, as I'm cooking my spaghetti. We've been talking all week. If you have questions about Ignite, to email the team email address, you can 100% still do that. And if you have a question specific to Sherry about what her journey was like, how to deal with X, Y, and Z with kids at home, there's her email, sherry@mindstrongfitness.com. She is one of our newest MindStrong coaches extraordinaire, just killer already at what she does.
Thank you.
Welcome to reach out to her. Sherry, I mean it from the bottom of my soul. Like what I love, we talked about this with Dory too. Like the reason we hire coaches who have been through the program is you understand the struggle at the beginning and you see the light. Like there are a few people who can understand that confidence, that freedom, until you've been on both ends of the spectrum. And I think it's very clear from today that you just embody the freedom that this work brings.
It is true. I mean, it's radiating. Just bring it, baby.